Um, everything, there are so many tourists here. Everything is so busy. And then I realized, I think last July, I wasn't, yeah, I had been appointed, but not, we didn't have travel policies, like, I'm just doing it by Zoom, so I hadn't traveled in July. So now I know July is very, very busy for traveling. So anyway, welcome everyone. We are going to have the vision and mission read by Dr. Lindsay Heathcock.
Okay, so our early learning board vision is creating a sustainable early learning system that partners with families to ensure that every child is healthy, valued, and successful in school and life. And the early learning board mission is to support children's academic and lifelong well-being by directing and supporting the Executive Office on Early Learning for an effective, coordinated, high-quality early learning system from prenatal to kindergarten.
Okay, so hang on. Pardon me, you guys. I have to get all my papers here. Excuse me, technical.
Am I muted? There, now I'm muted, right?
Okay, thank you. So announcements, please reserve all days Thursday, September 11th for in-person meeting. There is something about us meeting in person, so I really appreciate all of you who are here in person. And the morning agenda is tentatively, but pretty much going to be regarding the state plan. And the board meeting will be at the usual time. So before I do the roll call, because actually we have our new board members, so I want to say welcome. Diana cannot make it till maybe later today, but Diana Doye is with Hawaii Association for Independent Schools. She's the executive director, so she, we said aloha to Phil, and we're saying aloha to and welcome to Diana. So she'll be coming later. And then Naki is the president of Hawaii Head Start Association. Dan, are you online?
Yes, I am, Elaine. Afternoon,
Hi,
everyone.
welcome back to the board, because you were on the previous board, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes, well, and thank you so much. And in person, we have Dr. Ephraim Schwab, the Head Start Collaboration Office Director. So yay, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me go back to roll call. Alana Souza.
Aye.
Okay, Kau'i Burgess. Where does she have from? Okay, Cheryl, who do you want?
Aye.
Dr. Soma Gandhi is coming later. Dr. Lindsay Heathcock.
Hi.
You. Joni is not able to be here. Stephanie Shipton.
Here.
Okay, great. And I'm here. So, let me know if Kau'i comes in, but if she doesn't come in, the only vote we have today is actually on the minutes. And if I vote, then we still have quorum. So let me go to our non-voting members. Dana Luca, DHS.
Here.
Thank you. Disa from DOE cannot be here. Deanna's coming later. Nafua Rosil, Kamehameha Schools. Stephen Schatz, UH.
He's gonna be a little later.
Okay, thanks. Matt Shim. UH.
I'm here. Here, thanks.
And we've got okay. So we have roll call. We welcomed our new members. Let's do the minutes. So Mahalo to Tara again for the minutes, and are there any corrections to the June 12th, 2025 meetings? Okay, we're seeing none in the room, I don't see anything in chat. Hearing no corrections, can we have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted? One of my voting board members, make a motion.
I'll make a motion. This is Alana. A motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, can I have a second?
I can second.
Okay, Stephanie. Okay, so I'm gonna remind people, both in the room and online, when you speak, please identify yourself because we can't, if you're in the room, we can see, but we can't necessarily see who you are, so we'd appreciate it if you identify yourself. So we have it, we have a motion, and it's been seconded to accept the minutes. Any other discussion or corrections? Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna go for through the vote. Alana.
Aye.
Okay. Cheryl. Aye. Lindsay. Aye. Stephanie.
Aye.
Elaine. Aye. Okay, our minutes are passed. Mahalo, everybody. Oh, any comments from the public? Thank you, Tara, for the new slide. Okay. June was kind of busy. Yeah. So I just want to let you know that about the meetings that I attended as the Early Learning Board Chair, and was very honored to be invited to these meetings. So both you and I were at the Hawaii Teachers Standards Board strategic planning meeting, and apparently it was the first one that we've had. And they got a lot of ideas from the state plan meeting. She kept crediting UPO, so that was really nice. So that was a really, it was a good meeting because they were getting a lot of input, a lot of different stakeholders. And then I came over for the Ready Keiki press conference with Director and Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke. So Director Arikawa Cross did a really nice job on being in the press conference. Thank you very much. And then I came over for the continuous quality improvement session in early education, and Ephraim was at that session too, that UH and University of Massachusetts Boston put on. And it was really a really good session. CQI is something that we would like to have instead of a QRIS system. Many states are dismantling their QRIS systems. And when I interviewed people who worked in some states with QRIS, it became a checklist. You know, like, okay, I did that. Okay, good. I can relax for the next, you know. And it wasn't really necessarily leading to sustained improvement. So continuous quality improvement really is about a mindset of continuing to improve in any small ways, big ways, all kinds of ways. And that we are all in early education can be leaders in different ways. And then so that team and Terry Locke came over to Maui and they did an introduction on CQI or continuous quality improvement to the Maui directors. So I attended that and it was good to hear their perspective on initiatives, and their big, everyone agreed that their big issue is the workforce. the workforce just keeps, we need more people in the workforce. So we need to work on compensation and benefits initiatives so that we can recruit and retain people. And then a whole bunch of people from EOEL, right? We're at the media training. And so that was really, and that was thanks to Keiko, who invited us to participate. And so thank you very much to Department of Health and for letting us participate in that. I learned a lot. I'm still nervous, but it's mostly Yuko that will have to be in front of, and so I really appreciate learning more and just in case, but I'm really hoping I have to, but that's what I did in June. So just wanted to let you guys know. Any comments or questions? No? Okay. I'm racking up those miles, guys. Okay, I'm gonna give it over to Yuko. Let me stop.
Hi, everybody. Happy July. Just something that I like to do is each new school year, I like to have a different slide deck just so I can see the years progressing. And so Tara made some new public comments. So I just have a new slide deck, but of course, everything is captured on the ELB site. So you still have access to the continuous slide deck that I used last year. So again, we're starting off at the beginning with our same pieces, our roadmap, the prior roadmap that was made and its action items. So action item number 1 is on workforce development and support. And so let me just check, is Kule on?
Yeah, sorry, Joy.
Is she joining?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Kule. Would you like to speak to this?
Sure, of course. We were able to have our induction series for our new opening pre-K classrooms and their school teams. And so we had our 4 full day meeting sessions with them and covered program overview, quality program elements, and all of the different pieces that we want to share with the new opening schools. We had them over about a month time frame, and we did, because of time frames and different scheduling things, we did offer it each session twice so that the schools would be able to attend. And then for those that weren't able to attend those scheduled meetings, we also did makeup sessions where we had one-on-one scheduled opportunities to share with the new opening schools the guidance and guidelines within the content of the memorandum of agreement, as well as the statute and the ways that we support program implementation. So all of the schools attended the series, and again, it was an array of administration as well as if they had teachers that already in those teams. And so you can see the different agendas here listed, but again, we started off with the program overview, including statute and as well as the memorandum of agreement. Then we moved into quality standards, so the learning standards, as well as developmentally appropriate practice and program standards and how they align. And then we went into the specifically for program, curriculum instruction and assessment, observation tools, as well as documentation and assessment, and also the different ways that we look at and evaluate program. And the very last session, we went specifically into high quality early childhood curriculum and the framework for which we support our classrooms in providing standards-based, teacher-created curriculum that's designed with the intention of looking towards project an inquiry-based curriculum and supporting all the quality materials as well. We reviewed over with the administration what the teacher qualifications and the educational assistant qualifications are for a program, and then also outlined the ways that we help support the teachers and the educational assistants to meet those qualifications so that they can have their staffing and understanding the whys behind why those qualifications are in place and what we're hoping to accomplish in the space of understanding that early childhood is a specialized field. And we want to make sure that we are helping support those high quality early childhood environments and those folks that are in the space that are facilitating the learning should have these qualifications.
Thank you, Kuve. One of the things that our pre-K team does regarding the workforce development and recruitment and support of the teachers and the education assistants is in the Department of Education, teachers and education assistants belong to two different bargaining units. So the application and hiring process is different for both. Additionally, the education assistant position for EOEL has what we call a select certification. And so that creates a little bit of a different hiring process than all other educational assistant positions. And so sometimes if you're not aware or have never encountered select certification positions for educational assistant positions, it can be a little bit difficult to try to figure out how do you navigate the hiring of a person who's already on your campus and has the qualifications, and how do you actually get them into the position. And so timing is really important because certain positions are only posted with a certain sense of frequency. And so if you miss a posting period, you're going to have to wait until the next posting period. And so I think that our K team is doing a pretty good job at this. New administrators might have a little bit of a difficult time with some of these pieces, and also administrators who have never had a select certification position. But thank you, Kuve, for working on that. The second action item is addressing facilities for early care and education programs. We wanted to report that these are the current sites that are being renovated. So while EOEL is going to be opening 25 new classrooms, as was announced in the Lieutenant Governor's press conference, these are the set that are going to be renovated this summer. The rest of them are going to be renovated next summer. So the ones that are, what is going to be common, whether you're renovated this summer or not, and schools already know their status, is that everybody will still get the same furniture package. Everybody will still get the same materials and supplies. Everybody will still get the same funding positions and support from our team. It's just that the renovations are going to happen split for this cohort. So some this summer and the rest of them will be next summer. Here are the sites that have indicated interest so far for next school year. So we have our cohort of 25 schools for this classroom for this school year. And so now we're looking at next school year. So there's a process that we have to go through. So some principals may indicate interest. There are other ones where we have to engage in conversations with them. Once they're interested, they have to enter their commitment and understanding of what the EOEL program entails onto a document. And once they notify us about that, then we have a different process where somebody transfers that information into the school facilities authority form. At that time, it goes forward to having their evaluation and assessment and seeing whether or not their site could be renovated or not. And then after that, that's kind of where we start to put them on the more confirmed list. But right now, we're just still looking at site assessments, and these are the sites that have indicated interest for school year 26 and 27. A lot of principals do want to have conversations first, or sometimes we might have to go out there and chat with them. but this is what we have right now. There was a question that came up to EOEL about using school facilities and Head Start, for example, Head Start programs that are on DOE campuses. So the Department of Education has community-based providers on their campuses. There's a set of them that are in these specific buildings that were called 3+ buildings from the early 2000s. And those are contracted out currently all to Head Start programs. There's 14 of them. And EOEL is the one who facilitates and manages those contracts. However, if you go to the Department of Education's website, they will say that public schools are available for community use. And so they have their own process called the Use of Facilities Agreement. And so you can see type 1, type 2, type 3 in the middle of the page. And then when you look on the very bottom, it says it's for periods up to 12 months or less. The principal or their designee are going to be taking a look at that. But for periods beyond 12 months, then it goes to a different purpose, and this is like consecutive. So there are some programs that have operated on DOE campuses, but it's like a year-to-year agreement, year-to-year, 12 months at a time. So what's happening right now at some of our sites are that there are shifts in enrollment, there are shifts in things that are happening on campuses. And sometimes, and even in the past for EOEL, the school has to serve their K-12 population first that's assigned to their school campus. And if, for example, even if EOEL is there because it's not compulsory, right? If EOEL is there, they could possibly ask us to have to leave their campus because they need it for the kids that are currently designated to attend their school campus. So there are a lot of things that happen here. But we've also noticed some other kinds of conversations that have started to come up that our whole office team has been working around. So some of the things, especially for early learning, that we're starting to see right now are if there's another program, and it's not only Head Start, there are other programs that are operating on DOE campuses. So if some questions that have come to EOEL are how can we be more integrated together? Like, do they have to be separate, like on the side, or can we actually like be together? There are some programs that are inclusive, so it's a gendered setting where they could put children with special needs. And then there are some that are not. Some of the other things that have come up are just community kinds of challenges. So if there's a program on a campus that has like a different start and end time from another program that happens to be on campus, some principals have been finding that when parents come to pick up a child from a program, then they just take all the rest of the children out at the same time. And so it's not helpful for the general community. We've also had situations where a principal has said, so on a DOE campus, if you're an educational assistant, you cannot be left alone with children. But some of our educational assistants have master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, which means that they could technically be qualified as a lead teacher in a community-based program. However, some principals have, like, to them, the shift is a little difficult when you see an educational assistant that was on their campus that now becomes a lead teacher in another program that's using a use of facilities agreement on that campus. And so these are some of the nuances. Oh, in addition to communication. So Kool-Aid shared our communication, what's been going on with the EOEL public pre-K, because it is directly connected to the school, and the students are DOE students, and these are the principals, teachers, and educational assistants. And so they get lots and lots and lots of doses of communication. But sometimes if there's another program on campus where they're not really sure, like, what kind of professional development are you getting? What's going on with your curriculum? Like, what have you? Then sometimes, just because they happen to be on the same campus, principals are kind of looking at these two, like, is one better than the other? Should I have one or the other? But all of these things play into, whether or not a school chooses to continue to keep programs on their campus through use of the facilities agreement. And so I just wanted to share this, because, again, if there's anybody operating on a DOE campus through use of facilities agreement, as you can see on the bottom, it's a period of 12 months that can be renewed every year. But also if people wanted something a little bit longer, there is this portion about talking to the Department of Land and Natural Resources. Or the other option, of course, is ELBL expanded our early learning contracts to be able to do like a longer period of time on a DOE campus, but it's also with an annual review as well. And so I just wanted to share this portion about use of facilities, because we are aware of a few programs that are being impacted by shifts in school needs and school enrollments. The other piece is action item number 3, funding for the early year education system. And I'll let, you wanna talk from out there, Jen?
Sure.
Okay.
So we just wanted to highlight for folks that, the governor's, well, he signs into law the executive budget bill, and so it's now Act 250. He did include some line item vetoes in this, for this bill, which reduced appropriations for certain items. None of them affected our program. And so this is the vehicle through which the funding came through for our pre-K section. For the 50 classrooms over the next 2 years, so it's nice that it's now law and that we can have a little bit more certainty about the funding coming through for this extension.
Thank you.
There's a question from Dana.
Do we ask?
Oh,
Oh, no, I guess we can, sure.
Dana, you want to ask your question?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I have a question, not regarding this, but what you talked about previously, the use of school facility. So, one, is it solely up to the principal to determine whether or not they're going to ask, another program that they're going to terminate their, what is it called? Their contract with the program? And then 2, is the reason for terminating, is that transparent? And who reports that?
So that's a good question. So the reasons why use of facilities are terminated, I don't know. So use of facilities is not run through EOEL. Those are agreements between the Department of Education and whoever the provider is. So I'm not certain about that. One more thing, Dana, that you just mentioned that I actually was thinking about, specifically with a couple of programs that we know are being moved off of a DOE campus this year, is some people felt like they should have gotten a longer lead time to know that they had to transition off of campus. So this one program in particular that I'm thinking about, I believe they were notified maybe around December or something like that, that they were possibly going to have to move off of campus. One thing I think that for people to know is that every year, the Department of Education around like November, they give schools their projected enrollment. So every year it changes. So every year people are inviting people to participate in the transfer program or trying to pick up more employees. So every year there's an influx, it just comes and goes every single year. So around November, schools get their projected enrollment. So it's either going to be a lot higher than they anticipated or potentially lower. And we've seen on both sides of this. So if their projected enrollment is lower, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, maybe we can bring pre-K onto our campus now. And then they start to reach out around that time. At the same time, when it goes in the other space, they have to start thinking about how do they displace some programs. And so, because when they get their projected enrollment, it leads to their financial plan that's due by the end of December. Because they have to determine how many positions are they going to have on their school campus the following school year. And so this might mean, for me, I used to have to tell my probationary teachers, I don't have a position for you next year. You're going to have to, you can either wait, or you can try to do something else if you want to try to secure something for next school year, but I'm not gonna have something for you. And for other teachers, you have people who are going to retire, you've got people who want to transfer to a new school or go try something else. And all of that happens once you turn to hit February and March, and it goes all the way to the end of June. So there's still like lots of shifting that's happening. But in terms of the transparency piece, that would be between the school principal and the program. But you're correct that they do have the discretion on whether or not they choose to keep a program on their campus.
Thank you.
So we recently took part in the preschool open doors bill signing, which Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke signed into law. She was actually acting governor at the time, which is great. As you can see by the picture, it was very well attended by a lot of the advocates and supporters of early learning. And what this bill will do is, thank you. It's gonna raise, the two big parts is gonna raise the income eligibility to 5% of the federal poverty level, which, as you can see by the example of family of four, making $184,896 will qualify. The other thing that we're kind of excited about, but trying to keep a cap on it for now, is that this will expand eligibility to 2-year-olds as well too. But that does not go into effect until January 1st, so we aren't advertising that to the public at this point, because I guess there had been some confusion and that had been on the media. So, but yeah, we're very excited. It's definitely a step in the right direction.
So action item number 4, addressing program quality improvement and maintenance. As the chair mentioned in her section, there's been a lot of activity around continuous quality improvement and supporting the workforce. And so here are a couple of opportunities. So one is looking at nurturing ourselves and strengthening our programs, which is focused on directors. And then on the right side, seeking for program candidates for the Leading for Change and Early Care and Education program. And so these are two opportunities. The left one, you have to sign up by July 14th. And the opportunity on the right side, please sign up by July 17th. And I can pause right here if there are any public comments.
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
Going back to the facilities. Well, first in the workforce development pool, they said there were 15 programs.
Oh.
And then there were 14 under renovation. Is that the same thing? And then
Yeah.
what happened to the other 10?
No, good
I'm
question.
just
Thank
trying to
you.
make sense
Thank
of the
you,
number.
thank
Okay,
you. So
thanks.
we have sites and rooms. So 15 sites, but some of those could have 2 new rooms. But you could also have an existing room that's adding a room. So these are 15 new site administrators.
Okay, so the other 10 are,
So 25 rooms.
right,
Yeah, so it's could be folded in there. So 25 rooms, so you could have 15 new sites. So like one of the 15 could have 2 rooms. So that
Oh,
would
okay.
that boost it up to 16 rooms.
right.
And then you can have existing programs who want to add another room. So one example, for example, is Ka'ala Elementary, because that's my former school. So they have an EOEL pre-K and now they're adding a second room. So so that would not be, he would not be considered a new administrator.
Oh, okay, okay. So there are 25 that are opening
Classrooms,
classrooms
yes.
that are opening but some of them have already been in the system, so they weren't
Yes.
in that orientation that we fixed.
Yes, one
Okay.
of the other great things that they have started to do though is also loop in new administrators to existing EOEL sites. So we also know that they need some orientation as well. So they have invited new site administrators to schools that already had EOEL pre-K.
Thank you.
Go back to the preschool for the door.
Sure.
And then with the cap, so I guess, is it, based on income, like if you make less income, you get more? Is there like a sliding scale?
In terms of, oh, so I think Dana would probably be the best person to answer how exactly is that cap of the co-payment of 3% calculated?
Oh, actually, Stacy Tonouchi is on. She's the childcare subsidy administrator. She can answer that question.
Oh, hi there.
Hi, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, the question on the cap of the co-payment, that's based on our on the preschool's either tuition or the DHS maximum rates. So initially our staff, they're gonna look at the family's gross income. And then based on that, the family will fall under either 1%, 2%, or 3%. And that's based on the rate or what the school charges. So in the example we gave for accredited care, which is at 1,500, that's the DHS maximum rate. If a family falls under the 3% co-payment, they would probably be responsible for $45, which is 3% of 1,500. And that's the co-payment for the department. But if the preschool charges anything above that, then that's also the family's responsibility.
So the 45 is what the family is responsible for, or what you, or what,
Yes.
okay.
So 45%, so DHS collects 1, 2, or 3%
Got it.
of whatever the subsidy is, but like, let's say, I don't know, school charges, let's say 2,000, like if they would be responsible for that difference as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Stacy.
May I make a comment? Hi, Gwen, Carol, Gemini. I just want to say again, yes, I love preschool open doors. At our preschool, we have many families who are on it. I must say, the raise of the income is quite high. I did a quick calculation. I guess, for example, family of 4, presuming there's two parents, that's making about 90,000 each. If that's poverty, oh my. So just let you know, I am informing all families to just apply, just to see if you, of course, qualify. But I must say, I think most, if not all, my families probably will qualify.
That's
So
great.
it's a great help. So I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I just appreciate it on behalf of the families. It's a big help. But I must say, yes, a lot of people are like, wow, it seems like almost double than what the previous qualifications were for.
Yeah,
So,
because it was 300%, I think, yeah.
yeah, you know what I
So,
mean, right?
yeah.
90,000.
So
So
it makes a
families,
big difference.
yeah, very lucky today and definitely to help the 2-year-olds, absolutely, because
Mhm.
it costs more, for example, to
Right.
service a 2-year-old. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Thank you.
Thank you, and I want to follow up on Cheryl's comment, because the 2-year-olds, as we see more EOEL classrooms opening, and we have the open door subsidy that has increased, so more families can access it. I wonder if we can start asking the community-based programs, what kind of support might you need to take in more 2-year-olds? If, the 3 and 4s are kind of moving to EOEL classrooms, maybe there's fewer but there are gonna be 2-year-olds, there's a subsidy, so, just thinking how we can gather that information maybe, or ask for that, so that, we get an idea of how. And I'm not sure, the 2-year-olds are under the same, are they under infant and toddler rules? No, they're still under.
2-year-olds, it falls into the, so we have 2-year-olds,
You
anything
have
right
2-year-olds,
under
okay.
2-year-olds does fall under the infant.
Okay, so under 2-year-olds.
Correct.
Okay, so just so that DHS has regulations for infant toddler programs that are very different for the from the group childcare, right?
Once they turn 2, correct?
The 2-year-olds are included in the current.
Yeah.
Childcare regulations, so that really helps, but it's still, I mean, I know, I think would programs need some support. Working with 2-year-olds is real different. I used to serve as a validator for assessment a long time ago, and I would go into a classroom of 2-year-olds, and there's only 8 of them. And there are 2 staff, but it is really, really busy. You can imagine 8 2-year-olds, and you're trying to serve snack, and you're trying to get them to wash your hands, and then they're touching other stuff, and then you gotta get them to wash your hands again. And I would go, wow, I could spend 1 hour, and then I'd be like, but that was exhausting, and I'm just watching, it is a real different age group. Teachers might need a little more support. Definitely the ratios are lower, so let's think about how we can kind of gather that information and maybe ask community partners if they can start asking, so that, are there resources that are needed as we start looking forward to the next legislative session. So anyway, all of those things came to my mind.
So
Yeah.
you just mentioned ratios, and I
Yeah.
know the ratios were just recently updated. Would Dana or Stacy be able to just reiterate the ratios and what? I don't know. Sorry, I didn't capture when that was actually updated, but could you share that?
I'm sorry, which rates are you referring to?
The ratios, because the chair was just mentioning the ratios and
Adult child ratios.
Oh, okay. I'll turn that to Dana. Thank you.
Adult, okay, so 2-year-olds, it's 1 to 8 with a maximum group size of 16 children.
16 2-year-olds.
And then, so it's right. So if you have 16 children, then 1 teacher, 1 aide.
Wow. Yeah.
For 3-year-olds, it's 1 to 12. And with maximum group size of 24 children. And then for 4-year-olds, it's 1 to 16. With the maximum group size of 32 children.
And the DHS regulations are considered the floor for, that things cannot go below that. Programs can have higher ratios, and many will, because I really cannot imagine 2 people in a group with a group of 16 2-year-olds. That's a lot, but it is legal, okay? It's legal, but whether you can provide quality with just 2 staff and for that many 2-year-olds, that's a big question. And so many programs do choose to limit their capacity because they're licensed for that number of children, but maybe due to staffing or because their view of quality means they want to have a lower ratio, they might have a lower ratio of adults to children in different age groups. So yeah, thank you for sharing that information. Thanks for listening. But good changes, good changes. Oh, Jen had a clarification.
Ben has his hand up.
Oh, I can't see. Oh,
Ben Nucky has his hand up.
oh, Ben, go ahead.
Hi, thanks. I got, I guess, two questions, maybe kind of comments, and regarding the pre-K expansion. I'm kind of curious to know with the teachers for the EOEL pre-K classrooms, like how many of them are fully licensed? How many of them have provisional licenses, and then how many of them are emergency hires? And I guess my concern is basically around is there capacity? If there's a if depending on depending on how many emergency hire people are holding the emergency hire permits, is there capacity to get those people fully licensed within the 3 years? Because if not, we just gotta UL is gonna have to just find more people for emergency hire. But I'm not sure what the percentage is. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is alluding to the conversation we had around I think Elaine had mentioned like community providers, the capacity for them to take on toddlers and whatnot. This is both workforce kind of type questions, but like, and you guys notice like IT qualified people in community slots, like at preschools, community preschools, that's a hard gap to fill because of the qualifications. I know some providers and even our program, we can't open our IT classes because we don't have qualified staff. So I'm just kind of wondering, and I may be jumping ahead to something you can talk about later, Yuko, about workforce, but the workforce piece, I kind of worry about because it's great we're opening all these classrooms, but if everybody's licensed, that's one thing. But if people are going in there with emergency hire permits, are we ready to get those people fully licensed in 3 years? And then the second part is around the community-based providers. If they're being asked or the push is to do more 2-year-olds, they don't want staff. Like we don't have the staff. So I think that's just stuff to think about. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's a question, but it's just kind of want to just share my mind on that.
Thank you, Ben. I can respond to one part of it. So right now, and I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but I can address it briefly now. So in the Department of Education, until like the first day of work, so we cannot see into people who are potentially hired, for example, those 25 new classrooms, because they're not hired yet. And the positions start on the first day of school. So we can't see those pieces, but what we're doing is we are reaching out to school principals and what have you to see what kind of staffing needs that they might have. So for people who are not familiar with the requirements in the Department of Education, if you want to be a fully licensed teacher in an EOEL classroom, you have to have completed a state approved teacher education program in early childhood education. So, for example, my license is in elementary education. So by contract and from principals who have ultimate placement authority, and because I was a tenured teacher, I could be in an EOEL public pre-K classroom. I'd be considered not highly qualified, and they'd have to send a letter out to let families know that I'm not highly qualified. And then my job would be to work towards qualification. However, the one thing with the Hawaii State Teachers Association is that tenure will always trump, let's say, HQ highly qualified requirements. So if you're a tenured teacher, you do have rights to positions. And so that's one thing. So it plays out in many different ways, depends on how much turnover you have on campus, but EOEL is asking for all teachers not to just have a license, but to have a license in early childhood education. So that's the first thing. If you, for example, I'm a licensed teacher, but I'm in EOEL, I'm called not highly qualified. So there might be some portions of that, and I can start to enroll in classes and start to get picked up I would get to add a field because I'm already licensed. So because I'm already licensed, I can add a field. Previously, there was no add a field. So even though I have my bachelor's and my master's degree, I would have to go back and get either another bachelor's or another master's just to teach grade lower. And that was very difficult for many people to be able to do. So then I'm going to jump to people who are, as Ben called them, they're called the provisional or emergency hire folks. So this is something that comes up a lot. So for example, you have a community-based provider who has been a preschool teacher for many, many years, has a bachelor's in early childhood education, but has not completed a state-approved teacher education program. When they come into the Department of Education, you have to hold a permit or a license. So they would be a permit holder. And when you hold a permit, they get 3 years to do it, to satisfy the requirements, or they can become an educational assistant or substitute. You cannot teach beyond 3 years, and a permit is renewable annually only for 3 terms. One thing that we are finding is difficult is, for example, if you have a bachelor's in early childhood education, but you need to complete a state-approved teacher education program, you cannot just go to the ADA field track through our university system. You can only go, most people, if you have a bachelor's, you would want to go above and go get a master's degree in early childhood education. So if I have a bachelor's, might as well just go for my master's and get my CTEP in early childhood education. One of the challenges that we're finding right now is that it's only offered every other year. So if we have people who have been holding a permit for 2 years, their 3rd year is going to run out before they even finish the program. And this is something that we're working to try to address, to see how we can possibly do something with that. We do have, for example, there's a person who has a master's in early childhood education, who exhausted all of their terms of holding a permit, but is willing to and wanting to, will sit in a long-term sub position. And this person was previously an early childhood education professor in a community-based program for years. But they're willing to sit in a substitute line until they can get their credential, because it's not offered every year. So I think there's some generalizations in terms of like all subs equal not qualified, because on a community-based side, they have already been teachers for many years. But in the Department of Education, they're considered not highly qualified because they did not complete a state-approved teacher education program. And so so that is just something that's just a difference in terms of credentialing and requirements in the field. We have gotten a lot of pushback. ELBL has gotten a lot of pushback saying that we should accept teachers with a bachelor's who have been community-based teachers. They should be able to transfer straight into an ELBL public pre-K classroom. However, we are nestled within the Department of Education, which requires a CTEP for licensure for all teachers, regardless if you teach PE, mathematics, foreign language, whatever it is, you have to have a license in your field that you're teaching. For educational assistants, they cannot even get on the list unless they have at least those 3 credits or coursework for the Child Development Associates, or at least they're registered to complete it. So even if I've been an education, so what we have right now, or like we have a lot of educational assistant, people who've been an educational assistant, let's say in the SPED pre-K for many, many years. A principal usually can slot an EA into different EA kind of positions, because the EA is one large category, whether it spans from pre-K all the way to high school. So usually you can slot an EA around. But to be an ELBL EA, because it's a select certification, you have to apply externally, and you cannot get on the list unless you can show records of either having your CDA, having the coursework, or at least be registered for one of those 3 courses. And so we can get more clarity on where we stand with that when the system opens. But again, we're getting some preliminary data from our principals right now as our team is going out. One of the other things though is that, for example, Chaminade and UH are also graduating people. We've had people finish our stipend program. There's been people who finished the MUO scholarship program. And so their records, sometimes they have to show that they've passed, certain kinds of things on their transcripts. And it takes a little while for those to be reported so that they can apply into the department too. So some principals can possibly still be hiring, even after the first year of school, possibly. And then for the other question, I don't have perspective on the, when you talk about it's difficult for people for infant toddlers and it's hard to fill because of whatever the requirements are, but maybe a DHS can speak to what the requirements are for infant toddler. I don't know, licensure, credentialing.
Do you want me to address that?
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. Well, Ben, we do have that provision, that demonstration project provision in place for infant and toddler centers who, have staff that maybe are working towards complete, fulfilling infant toddler qualifications, caregiver qualifications. So if that's something that you're interested in hearing more about, I think Sylvia was a part of the work groups. But if you want to hear more about that, we can just, let me know and I can discuss further with you.
Yeah,
about-
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dana and Yuko. If I can just, I wasn't, I think that was more of just a comment, not really a
Yeah.
question, because I know the process. I think just informing everyone that the community providers, it's hard to just open up an infant and toddler classroom. With COVID, people took steps backward, lost people that were in those infant toddler classrooms, and it's just kind of letting everyone know that it's not easy to just kind of open up infant toddler classrooms as it used to be in the past. And I don't know if it's because people are moving out of the field, maybe they moved out of the field. We've always had even when we had all of our IT programs, classrooms open, when somebody left, it was always hard to find somebody. Now that there is this waiver process that Dana's talking about, it's a good thing, but I don't see the same number of applicants that we used to have in the past. So I guess my concern is, the pre-K expansion is awesome because we want to get kids some experience, preschool experience before. But there could be I think I said this like 10 years ago on early learning board somewhere, that the shift is now going to be toward IT for providers and for community providers. So I think we got to think about that as a board. And remember that consideration, because I think that's going to be a gap that needs to be filled, to help communities, right? To help families with childcare, but also, there's a lot of learning that goes on, as we all know, under the age of 2 and under. So, I worry about that population too. So it was more of a comment, I want to say, Yuko and Dana, the second piece. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we'd like to just have some system updates. So, Allison, you can share in this.
Yep, I am here. So, we are continuing to march forward on the state plan. So, we had our first round of the 5 building block committees met in June. The steering committee was able to meet and review the work of those committees towards the second half of June. They provided some feedback and insight, and now this week and next week, we're having our second round of building block committee meetings, working on kind of refining what those actual action priorities are within each of those areas. And then we had a lot of feedback, and we've mentioned this before, after the community engagement forum, to incorporate family voice in the plan. So we're working on doing that as much as possible. We've been putting the final touches on a survey for families to kind of voice their priorities around early childhood in general, and some of the items that have been coming out of the state plan in particular. So our goal is to kind of work with some of our community partners to distribute that survey so that you can share it with your families as widely as possible across the state. So we can get as much feedback as possible from those families who will be impacted by this plan. And then we are anticipating September community engagement events on neighbor islands. So if you have events that you know that are happening on your island in particular, we would love an invitation if EOEL could be a part of that. As the convener, come out, share about the plan, engage with, your local community, find out what their feelings and priorities are on that. I believe that's all the state plan updates I have, if there's any questions.
Celine,
Sorry, I'm
oh, sorry. So that, there's gonna be two more building block committee rounds, correct? July and August. And I just want to say to my voting board members, not everybody got to participate, I think, in a building block committee, but if they're still interested, is it possible for board members to join in a committee in this month, on August?
Yeah, so people can always join,
Okay.
it's not like locked and blocked, so.
Okay.
So, even as people jumped into building block committees, they're like, hey, I think this person, this entity or this group or what have you should be here. And if people name a name that may already be in a different building block, we'll try to figure out, is there another recommendation for another person? So one of the things that we noticed when, just for some of us who have been here relatively new, stepping into the space, sometimes you might have noticed that you see the same people like at everything, they just have different hats all the time. And when we held our face-to-face meeting, some people were like, I don't have capacity to do this, but here, put my leader's name on, like I don't have capacity. So a lot of people like, I don't have capacity, we don't have capacity, we don't have people, like whatever it is. So we also are trying to think about how do we build capacity instead of keep tapping the same people over and over and over again. And so when people want to recommend somebody, we will look to see if they're on another one. And if not, we will reach out to see if they have another name. Like who else can you bring along with you to help build up our early learning space. So of course, we're always welcoming new people. We're also trying to ensure that we have each island represented, different types of organizations represented in every building block. But of course, if you have a recommendation, please send it to Heather or Allison.
So for my voting members, I would encourage you to participate in a building committee. And I would like people who have participated in a committee to maybe share just a minute or two at the next meeting about what you learned. So I just want to put that out because it's a great opportunity to learn from, each committee, as Yuko has said, is diverse. And they've intentionally tried to have all different kinds of statewide people and different arenas. So it's a really great opportunity to learn and to ask your questions. So I would really want to encourage you folks to do that. But yeah, thank you.
Next, Mikako.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. The EOEL would like to help the launch of Department of Health's initiative called Go Knapsack, and would like to share information about the initiative. Go Knapsack is a free, easy-to-use online toolkit. It has 7 topic areas that you can choose from. The areas are child nutrition, breastfeeding and infant feeding, oral health, infant and child physical activity, outdoor play and learning, screen time, and farm to early childhood education. In 5 simple steps, Go Knapsack will provide professional development resources, self-assessments, and goal support. It supports providers and helps Keiki thrive. To get access to this free, easy-to-use online toolkit, please complete the form to get the access code. The link to the form is provided on the slide. For more information, please contact Shannon Tanaka at doh.hawaii.gov. That's it for me. Thank you for your attention.
So moving on to early learning, so Waikiki Community Preschool. We just learned that this was approved, so they will be opening 120 seats this upcoming school year. So again, just reiterating the pre-K expansion press conference. 50 we're looking at 50 new classrooms over the next 2 years, and this is for the first 25. Here are where the sites are currently located. So you can see by island, and if you cannot see it because it's too small, this is on our paper application online, so I can send it to you, or you can take a look at it on our website. But this tells you what's available. The ones with a double asterisk are the sites that will have. Oh, I noticed one thing. Okay, so Kahala does not have both English and Hawaiian, but it's actually Pope, Haula, Lanai. And we should add
Hana.
So Hana and
Hana.
Yes, it's Hana. But I see that we'll fix this. So I just noticed
So-
that. So Hana, Pope, Lanai, and
Haula.
have English and Hawaiian EOEL public pre-K this year. I know a couple of board meetings back, somebody had mentioned that EOEL had a Hawaiian language in Hana this past school year, but that was not an EOEL Hawaiian language program at Hana this past school year. So we will be working with Hana this upcoming school year. When we're looking at applications, here are the number of applications that we've received so far up until July 2nd. And so on the left side, received, this tells you how many applications we've received. So every island has received more applications than seats, except Lanai, just shy by 3. And for a total of 3,494 to date. I put an asterisk next to Kauai. We do have a site on Kauai, it's King Kaumali'i. There was a little bit of misunderstanding in terms of their facilities, and a misunderstanding about, they thought the renovation was going to be the same time as the opening, so they thought they would not be opening this year, will possibly be opening next year with their renovation. But they're still willing to open this year, but they asked us to hold back releasing their application just yet because they want to open second quarter. And so they will still open this year. They just want a little bit more time. And so we will open their applications probably around the start of school, but they will start to receive children the second quarter. So when you look at our list that's online, and when you go to our online application, they will not be indicated yet at a request of the school, but we will release it probably in about a month or so. So we will still have 25 rooms opening this school year. And again, in terms of workforce, one of the things that we are supporting schools with are anything that they can post on social media, on flyers, things that they can hand out, any way that we can help them recruit for any positions that might be needed. And so sometimes we tailor them for the school, sometimes we just read it in general. And so I think schools have found this helpful in terms of trying to help get the word out there, whether it's trying to recruit teachers, educational assistants, or even students for their programs. The other thing I wanted to highlight was that we have a new early learning status teacher. His name is Alan Arimoto. Did you want to share with Alan? Tara, I don't know if you have it on you right now. His bio.
I do. Okay. So he, the past 7 years, he served as an ELB public pre-K teacher. And before that, he worked in special education, supporting students grades preschool through grade 6. He has a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in early childhood education from the University of Hawaii at NOAA. I found this kind of funny because we always ask people to give us a fun fact about themselves. And Alan's fun fact is that he enjoys fishing. He's fished all his life, but he doesn't eat fish. He prefers to get his catch away. So welcome, Alan. Yeah.
Are there any public comments about this section? That's the end of our.
Okay. So now we'll go to a break. We'll take a 10-minute break. Let's come back at 10 to 3. Thank you, everybody. Okay, now you can start. Okay. Aloha everyone, we're back and I'm going to turn it over to Keiko Nita from Department of Health, and she's going to share about the many programs that the Department of Health provides for children. Here she is.
Here I am. Thank you. Okay, let me make sure that I get the right screen to share. Okay, and I apologize. I have 2 screens, so hopefully you can see me. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I apologize, Elaine and Yuko. I won't be able to see the chat or the actual screen as I'm okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you to Chair Yamashita and Director Arikawa Cross for allowing us to share about our Department of Health programs and services that support young children's optimal health and development. So the mission of Department of Health is to protect and improve the health and environment for all people in Hawaii. We believe that health, an optimal state of physical, mental, social, and environmental well-being is both a right and a shared responsibility of everyone in Hawaii. With that in mind, here is an organizational chart that outlines the different divisions that make up our department. At the top is our Director of Health, Dr. Kenneth or Kenny Fink, along with our attached agencies and boards, including the Executive Office on Aging, which is an attached agency to our Department of Health, similar to how the Executive Office on Early Learning is an attached agency to the Department of Education. Our Deputy Director Kato oversees the district health offices on Maui, Kauai, and Hawaii Island, and so we have staff available statewide. Below that, you'll see our 3 administrations: the Health Resources Administration, the Environmental Health Administration, and our Behavioral Health Administration. So if you notice, I work in the Family Health Services Division, which Matt Shim is our chief, and he sits on the board. I've also marked some of the programs that I'll be discussing with stars for easy reference for you. So while all of our divisions, programs, and services aim to support the optimal health of Hawaii's people, I've highlighted a few that specifically support the development of young children and their families, particularly in the areas that align with the responsibilities of the Early Learning Board. So sorry, this is a busy slide, but just to give you a broad understanding of how the various state departments work together to support young children's health, safety, and learning, these next 2 slides will highlight some of the key programs serving children from prenatal period through age 8. You'll notice that these are just some of the key state departments and agencies that service young children and their families. Programs highlighted in blue represent the Department of Human Services. Green indicates the Department of Health. Orange is the Charter School Commission. Yellow represents the Executive Office on Early Learning, and red is the Department of Education. So you'll notice that some are covered with boxes and some have those arrows. So those arrows show programs that continue serving children as they grow older, while the boxes are actually just time periods. They only service children for a certain period of time. So if you notice, our early intervention program, as well as a newborn hearing screening program, only services children from birth to age 3. So again, I know it can be confusing to know which program belongs to which department, and sometimes even we mix it up. Many people tend to refer to everything generally as the state, which is understandable given how interconnected the systems are. So like you've noticed, sometimes, UCO gets questions about Department of Human Services, or I get questions about Department of Human Services, or Dana gets questions about Department of Health. That just goes to show how connected we are. Many of the Department of Human Services oversees many of the core benefit and entitlement programs to support the basic needs of children and families. This includes our MedQuest program, which is Hawaii's Medicaid agency, which provides health insurance, the Supplemental Nutrition and Assistance Program, or SNAP, for food security, our Temporary Assistance for Needy Families for financial support, and of course, our Child Welfare Services. You'll notice for the TANF and the Temporary Assistance for Other Needy Families, the TAONF, the timeline may extend past the age of 5 since the time limitation is cumulative of 60 months lifetime limit, so assistance may not necessarily end at age 5 or 8. The Early Learning Board has focused much of its recent discussions on childcare subsidy and childcare licensing regulations. You'll also see that both the Charter School Commission and the Executive Office on Early Learning offer pre-K programs for children in those 2 years before kindergarten. While these programs may look similar, they are governed by different statutes and have different funding streams. The Department of Education provides preschool special education for children ages 3 to 5, and special education for services, again, from 5 to 21. And of course, Department of Education also offers general public education for all students from kindergarten to age 12 or to grade 12. Now I'm going to take a little bit of time to share more about some of our specific Department of Health programs as it relates to our Early Learning Board. Again, while I'm only highlighting a few, it's important to remember that all our programs work together to support children, families, and communities. So hopefully many of you may be familiar with our public health nursing branch and their dedicated nurses. They are essential during critical emergencies, such as assisting with COVID-19 response and the Lahaina wildfires. These nurses play a vital role in supporting infants and toddlers in our early intervention section, as well as children with complex medical needs. Some also serve as health consultants to preschools, family childcare homes, and infant toddler centers, and they really help childcare providers create safe and healthy environments. Our public health nurses work in the community across the state, and they provide care and support for people of all ages from Keiki to Kupuna. This is a slide that actually Mikako talked to you about our Go Knapsack program. So our primary prevention branch of our Chronic Disease Prevention and Public Health Promotion Division has been focusing on improving the nutrition and physical activity in young children in childcare settings. They've been doing this through their Go Knapsack pilot program. And again, as Mikako already shared, Go Knapsack stands for Go Nutrition and Physical Activity Self-Assessment for Childcare. It was launched just this past July as a free virtual toolkit designed to support quality improvement and professional development. And again, as Mikako said, it covers those 7 key areas of child nutrition, breastfeeding or infant feeding, farm to early childhood education, oral health, infant and child physical activity, outdoor play and learning, and screen time. Also within this division is the Hawaii Child Care Nutrition Program, which is funded by the Department of Human Services. This program supports licensed child care providers in serving healthy and developmentally appropriate meals to young children. Some of you may already be familiar with this program's services, which includes menu reviews, training, and ongoing support to help providers meet the nutritional needs of children in their care. One of our flagship programs within our Department of Health is our Early Intervention section. The Early Intervention section, or EIS, is a federal and state mandated program that provides services to support the development of infants and toddlers from birth up to age 3. Information and support are also provided to parents to increase their knowledge about and their ability to support their child's development. This program is designed to help young children reach their developmental milestones across 5 key areas: the physical domain, such as how they move, sit, walk, or crawl; their cognitive domain, such as how they pay attention or solve problems; communication and how they communicate, talk, or understand; social emotional, which is how they socialize and play with others and have confidence in themselves and are able to express their feelings and emotions; and the adaptive skills, such as how they are able to meet their needs by eating and dressing and feeding. If there are any concern about a child's development, we encourage family, friends, and childcare providers to make a referral to our early intervention section if the child is under 3. The program will conduct a developmental assessment to determine if the child is eligible. If the child qualifies, services are provided in person or through telepractice in the child's natural environment. That is where they live, play, or learn. Another flagship program many people are familiar with is our home visiting program. Our home visiting program in Department of Health is voluntary. It's no-cost service that supports expectant parents and families with young children from the prenatal period through the start of kindergarten. The program is called Your Ohana and provides family with a trained home visitor who offers guidance, encouragement, and support in raising young children. Your Ohana operates a statewide network serving families on all neighbor islands and in specific communities on Oahu. Services are developed through well-known local organizations such as the Catholic Charities Hawaii, In Peace, Keikioka Aina, Maui Family Support Services, Parents and Children Together, and the YWCA of Hawaii Island. This voluntary program focuses on strengthening families through 5 key protective factors: parental resilience, social connections, knowledge of parenting and child development, concrete support in times of need, and the social-emotional competence of children. It follows structured, evidence-based models aligned with the federal Maternal, Infant, and Early Childhood Home Visiting Program, or MICV. It's important to note that this program is different from Department of Human Services Child Welfare Home Visiting Program, which is a mandatory program for families involved in the child welfare system. This is a map that shows you where they are serviced across the islands. And if you'll notice that they are on all of our neighbor islands, except for Oahu, which is only in 3 different communities, such as the Kalihi, Wahiawa, and the Waianae communities. Another critical program that families depend on is our Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, commonly known as WIC. This is a federally funded program that serves pregnant individuals and families with children up to age 4 who meet income guidelines and have a medical or nutritional risk. WIC provides supplemental nutrition or healthy foods, nutrition education, breastfeeding support and promotion, as well as referrals to healthcare and social services to help meet families' broader needs. In Hawaii, the WIC program is managed by our Department of Health and offers additional support tailored to the local community. Participants in WIC receive an e-WIC card, which functions like a debit card, making it easier to purchase WIC-approved foods at local grocery stores. Additionally, Hawaii WIC provides educational resources and workshops on nutrition and healthy living, helping families make informed choices about their diet and lifestyle. The program also collaborates with local health care providers and social services to offer comprehensive assistance, addressing a wide range of needs beyond just nutrition. And finally, our Children with Special Health Needs section offers various programs and services to support young children and their families. Our Hi'ile program provides free developmental screenings using the Ages and Stages Questionnaire 3, or the ASQ3. This is a parent questionnaire designed to help assess children's development. Parents receive either a hard copy mailed to them with a prepaid stamp envelope for returning the form, or an electronic version, which they complete online and at different monthly intervals to monitor their child's progress. Our staff then scores the results and discusses options with parents if there are concerns. This is a similar process to what is used in doctor's offices and some childcare programs, just as a way to check on children's development. Currently, I serve as the early childhood coordinator, and I collaborate with many of our public and private partners, and I try to help coordinate and align our activities, such as sharing information about our programs and services. We also run a childhood lead poisoning prevention program to help keep kids safe from lead exposure and support families with children who have elevated blood lead levels. High levels of lead in the blood can cause learning difficulties and other health issues. So we work closely with families and healthcare providers to address these concerns. We provide easy to understand materials and resources to families, caregivers, and the community about the dangers of lead and how to prevent exposure. Our materials are available in multiple languages to reach as many families as possible. We have coloring books that teach about lead, and it's printed in many languages, and we can send these to your program so you can give these to families. Additionally, our specialty support program provides care coordination, social work, nutrition, and other services for children with special health care needs from ages birth through 21 with chronic medical conditions. So examples of these chronic medical health conditions are such as cerebral palsy, complex heart conditions, hearing loss, and seizure disorders. We serve children who may have long-term or chronic health conditions that require specialty or specialized medical care. We also offer neighbor island clinics for families, so it helps eliminate the need to travel to Oahu for cardiac and nutritional concerns. We also have a hearing and vision screening program, which is developing guidance and consistent training and reporting protocols for young children's hearing and vision health. We do not go out and do vision or hearing screenings in programs, but we do work with many organizations who do that, such as the Leadership in Disabilities and Achievement of Hawaii or the Lions Club. Thank you again for your time to share about our programs and services. Here's my contact information if you have questions, and I'll be happy to direct your questions to any of the specific programs our agency leads.
Thank you, Keiko. Do we have any questions from the board? Comments, questions? Keiko, it seems to me like you, tell me if this is accurate. A lot of what you guys are doing is partnering with community programs and giving grants out so that the work is done in the community.
Yes, so some of the programs that you mentioned, we do contract with different agencies to help provide those services, as well as, we do have another small little federal grant that is able to help provide some supports to different community providers. And again, one of the deliverables for our federal grant is really looking at childcare providers. So that's where we work with many of our childcare organizations to help provide training and supports on social emotional development.
Yeah, over the years, Department of Health has had a variety of programs and has supported early childhood programs in a number of ways. So thank you very much for that. But any other comments or questions from the board? From Sid Mahalo. Any questions or comments from the public? Hey, hearing none, thank you so much, Keiko.
Thank you, everyone.
And, there's so much in this field. We have so much to coordinate and communicate and collaborate. And so I think the board's job is to really understand the breadth of all these entities that make up our system of systems. And our job is to work with EOEL to make sure that they have resources to help coordinate and collaborate, as the statute says. So please keep thinking, asking questions, keep, and thank you so much for all the work that is continuing to go on in different arenas. And, you know, Keiko first, I met her when she was a very young woman, maybe almost 20 years ago, I think, when we had the Early Childhood Task Force. This is like 06, yeah, almost 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
You know, and she immediately stood out as this, here's what she volunteered to bring us group agreements, and I was like, wow, who is this? So anyway, thank you very much, Keiko, for your work. Let me get back to sharing my screen. Yeah, I'm gonna see if here. Yeah, I'm getting there. Okay, so we just had Keiko of the comments. Okay, so the next item is the review of the director evaluation process. So reminder to my board members, fill it out, it's due tomorrow. So all my members that voting and non-voting, not the new members. Ephraim, because he is an employee also of the OEL. The Head Start Collaboration Director is recused from this process. But everybody else, please, the comments I have seen so far are really helpful. So I'm going to look at them, summarize and share with you, Cole, and then the governance committee has its regular meeting on the last Friday of the month. And Yuko will present some draft criteria for the next year. And then next board meeting, I'll summarize the results of the survey. So, and the governance committee will present the criteria for 25 to 26. Okay, so any questions from the board? Any questions or comments from the public? Thank you. This is the first year we're going to be on time. So we're working on. Okay, so as you know, last meeting there was a Senate concurrent resolution, and I was looking at it and it talked about a board report, and EOEL gives an annual report. But if we ever have to give a report to the board, I did start this document. So when you click on it, you'll see, and I'll just keep, you know, this is last year, and then I'm gonna start this year. But I put the month, the motions that passed, any policy that passed, any documents, and then what presentations were made. So that if somebody asked us to give a report to the legislature, ta-da, we have it. So at least we have the bones of it. So that's what this is about. So are there any questions or comments from board members about that? You can look at it and let me know if there's any corrections to be made. Any questions or comments from the public? Not hearing anything. We'll go on to the next one. Okay, so this is a discussion on an idea that came up from the June meeting. So I'm gonna turn it over to Director Arikawa for us. Oh, okay, let me stop sharing.
No, it's me.
But I gotta stop sharing, right?
I'm sharing.
Yeah, okay.
I clicked the wrong share. Okay, hi everyone. So right now EOEL is, well, actually EOEL has been working on thinking about what are we going to do for the next legislative session? What's the top of our priority list? what are some things that have been mentioned to us that we might take into consideration? So in June, we proposed a couple of generative questions, and this is where we were trying to facilitate just dialogue to hear what were board members thinking about, you know, in terms of the roadmap, and then also thinking about what else should be considered, what else might require immediate attention. And so there were a lot of really good ideas that came out. So we're talking about urgent, like infant toddler care needs, identification and intervention for ages 0 to 3, you know, sustainable FCIL, funding for FCIL programs, and insurance costs and preschool open doors. And all of these are very worthy. A lot of these would take coordination with other agencies to be able to work through. But the way that our timing works is that within the next like 2 to 3 months, we need some sort of board approval so that we can, because the legislative season is going to start kicking in. And so while some of these are very worthy and we are looking into actually a lot of them, we can't really take action on it for this upcoming session, except there's one that might be a possibility. And so that's why we wanted to bring this back around again. So there was something that was mentioned that should the children of employees of a Hawaii Department of Education school within the EOEL pre-K program be added as an EOEL priority category for the purpose of enrollment. And so this is something that we can generally, I would say, control within ourselves because it applies to EOEL. Of course, we would have to talk to some other people about other implications, but primarily this is an EOEL bucket, and it would have this relationship with our board. And so this is the one thing that I was thinking that we could have a dialogue about so that we can figure out what is the desire of our board. And so to help to facilitate the conversation, I just wanted to provide some context that can help us with this conversation. So again, as of July 2nd, we've had 3,494 applications received. There are 2,275 total seats. And so at the top here, you can see the portion of our statute that talks about our EOEL public program and who we're supposed to serve. So 3 and 4-year-olds, 2 years prior to kindergarten, priority for at-risk children. So the reason why it's asterisk and underlined is because the definition of that from our statute is on the bottom part. It follows the calendar of this DOE, full day classroom instruction. It's priority shall be given, but is not limited to children who are going to eventually go to that kindergarten. So somebody was asking, do you guys have GEs? We don't have geographic exemptions. You can apply to any school that you want to, but we typically are trying to limit all the transitions children have. So if the child will matriculate to that kindergarten, then that would be a higher consideration for that family. Of course, we have to include children who have special needs in our program if it says that they should be serviced in a general education setting. So currently right now at risk I'll read it as it's stated. So at-risk children means children who, because of their home and community environment, are subject to language, cultural, economic, and other disadvantages that cause them to be at risk for school failure, including children who are placed through their individualized education programs in a general education setting, who are English as second language learners, who are in foster care, who are homeless, or whose family income is no more than 300% of the federal poverty level. So these are our priority categories. As you know, EOEL is not exclusively for. So in our applications, we take a look at anybody who's applied. So let's say I applied and I meet one of these at-risk categories, and this is the school I'm going to end up going to kindergarten at. I would be at the top of the list for enrollment. let's say I meet a priority category, but the school that I would go to kindergarten at is someplace else, then I would be like that level 2 priority. And then let's say I am a child that does not meet any of these at-risk categories, I would be like in that 3rd bucket. And so right now, children of employees of the DOE are not in our priority category definition. And so, you know, it was one of the ideas. So it was talking about allowing DOE employees' children to access nearby pre-K classrooms through district exemptions. But again, we do not have district exemptions for EOL public pre-K. But I guess I just wanted to open this up because this could be possibly something that EOL could take action on, and trying to see what is generally the desires of our board.
Do EOEL employees, like the preschool teachers, get this kind of priority?
No, but if you are a teacher and your family happens to fall into a priority category, then you could be a priority category, but not just because you're a.
You don't get a boost if you're.
No.
Yuko, this is Steve. The geographic exceptions process, I know there's no GEs for EOEL, but for DOE geographic exceptions, that's not one of the criteria, right?
No, it's not. Like, so criteria in terms of, like, do you, sorry, can you clarify what you mean by that?
Well, like the GEs in DOE are either lottery, or in the past, they would be prioritized by other categories, like a specific academic program, or in the past when it was considered a struggling school, you could GE out of it. But there was never a consideration of whether or not the student in question was had a parent who was an employee of the school, right?
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, wait, no. So, well, actually, I think GEs do consider whether
I know in practice they do. I'm just not sure if that was the rule or not. I can't remember.
yeah, I think it could be other reason. I'm not really sure about that, but
I mean,
think
it's just a question of whether or not I know we're not DOE schools, but you know, there's something a little clean about being having parallel rules, especially because they're housed together. So it'd be interesting to know whether like the specifics of DOE regulations on that.
Okay, I just looked it up. So it says, child of a school staff member, a school staff member may apply for a GE so that their child may attend the same location where the parent is employed. Also, if there's a sibling of a child attending the same school, and then of course, as you said, programs of study.
Yuko, what do you think? Like, what are you hoping that we say?
I don't have an answer for that one. I can see both sides of the issue, actually. As a former principal, I've lost employees because they could not find a place for their child. So I understand that side. I also can see that, you know, we have an excess of applications beyond the amount of seats. And I just wonder what might the implication be if we do open this up. And maybe it could be clarified in terms of like what priority category they are. So for example, like the top priority are people who are at risk and belong to that homeschool, then at risk, not that homeschool, and right now we have this 3rd bucket of everybody else. So
you mean like a more sophisticated system where it's not like binary, where if you've got, maybe even if you've got multiple criteria met, then you're prioritized more, which could include a parent who works there, right? But it would also be weird if it was only for DOE employees and not for EOEL employees. That's weird.
So DOE, EOEL employees are DOE employees.
Oh, okay, you meant that way. Got it, yeah.
Because currently, they wouldn't be a part, they wouldn't, the employees' children, there's no priority category for them. So we could propose legislation to include children of employees at that school. Could be in that priority 3 maybe. And then the 4th priority would be everybody else, yeah.
Could be.
So something like that. But without that specified in legislation, we have what you both showed. The at-risk, so the employee's status is not a factor at this point. So she's asking, what do you guys think? Should that be open to those? Should a space be available for employees of that school?
This is Soma. I just am curious if there's a way to run numbers, anticipated numbers on how many potential additional applications there would be based on that shift in the policy, whether it's in bucket 1 or no, bucket 2.
And then Stephanie has her hand up. Also.
I have a similar question that Sulma had, which is, and I'm sorry if you shared this and I missed it, but to what maybe some way of surveying current employees to find out to what extent this is a hardship and maybe where are there pockets of hardship if there are. So we know if this is something that should be a policy or something we give flexibility for sites to decide.
Right now, EOEL determines enrollment. Is that correct?
When anybody applies, we take a look, and if they meet a priority category, they are elevated. And then of course, if they belong to that home school, they are like the #1 priority. Then we look at children who meet those priority categories, but if they belong to some other school, they would come in at that 2nd tier. And then if you do not belong to a priority category, then it just comes as like a first come, first serve pending seat availability.
Go ahead. Sure.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I guess looking at it from just an outside perspective, it wouldn't look good, for example, if say all the DOE teachers took those spots. For example, like say 1 year happened to have 10 teachers take all the spots. I'm just saying that wouldn't look good. Could happen though. So I'm just wondering, and I apologize, hoping it shouldn't need legislation. I'm just thinking we should just work with the private preschools in the community. There could be 1 minute away from that school that has openings. Work with that private preschool and say, hey, community-based preschool, can you accommodate this teacher? Yes. Because we can decide and dictate also on our wait list. Usually they apply families a year in advance because they know how old their children are and who they can care. So it can be easily organized. And I want to say I'd be more than happy to help my for this families. Yeah. And it'd be simple. Wouldn't need legislation or anything. And the public preschools could accommodate the at-risk children if we accommodate the teachers' children. Yeah. And going back to that preschool open doors thing, I think a lot of teachers would be able to qualify automatically, if I may say. Sorry. Yeah, so I just want to put it out there as a community-based preschool. I'd be more than happy to make space for all the teachers' children. Yeah.
This is
Emma. Oh, sorry, I apologize, I apologize.
No.
If you were an ELL teacher, you would not want your child in that classroom. So it is best to be in another class. And I think other teachers here would agree too. If your child is in your classroom, not the best idea, which could happen in this situation. Sorry, that's it.
This is Alana. I was just gonna just to Cheryl's point of, what if you do end up with a classroom that is just filled with high DOE employees? If that has what that would look like. Also, have you consulted the Attorney General on this at all, or any insights from him?
We did not ask yet, because we're just trying to figure out whether or not this is something that would even be a desire of our board. But we could ask before, so let's just say the board says, sure, go and take a look at this. Then we would probably run it by our AG, because this would have to come back to the board as a potential legislative possibility and proposal that the board would have to approve, so we would find out at that point.
Okay, thank you.
Yuko, I guess if you're asking for thoughts, it's not like I've thought about this for a long time, but one of the things I was thinking is, I think I would be okay with it as a priority, but maybe not on the same level of priority as the other priorities, if that makes sense. Like, in other words, I wouldn't want this to ever take, like, there are other needier categories, but if you kind of go through all that and then you're at a list, then I'd be okay with it as sort of a second tier. And I realize that probably is like impossible to implement, but like just putting it up there as equivalent to is a little funky from from the perspective of who we're trying to serve, right? I mean, I've seen principals not let their own kids into the schools that they lead because they truly run a lottery, right? And I always thought that was like a lot of integrity. It was really impressive to me that happened. So yeah.
I guess another thing that I would wonder too is, if the opening up a third, or opening up another priority level, including high DOE employees, like does that so say, how do you determine which, just say multiple DOE employees apply? How do you determine or accommodate all of those if there's a limited number of seats available? I hope that made sense. Or if there's like 5 outside of the priority category, but then 10 employees apply, how would that work? To determine priority within the, like, first come, first serve, or I'm not sure, lottery. And then last question, I guess, from a union standpoint, for like HSTA or HGEA, any implications there in offering that? And then I don't know if there's any other unions, maybe IPW. I'm not sure if they're represented in some of the staff, but just some considerations, initial thoughts on that.
Yes, I forgot to insert the slide on public comments.
Yes, that's okay.
I apologize. Is there anybody who would like to offer public comment?
Hi, this is Malia Suchia. I would like to offer public comment regarding prioritizing DOE Haido teachers for early learning. I taught for about 20 years and I taught in schools that would take my kids. And right now we have such a shortage of teachers at every level. And I think that whatever we can do to support them, to keep them in the classroom, to make it easier to be a teacher, in terms of just wages, lifestyle, whatever supports we can offer them right now. I think we should heavily consider the ways in which we could do that, and whether it's priority, whether it's by subsidy, whether it's contracting with community-based programs, whether it's a mix of the way that we deliver it. I think we should really consider how we support our teachers that have children that need early learning and childcare. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, I think so. Next step would be you'll take it back to discuss with the team.
Yes, and then we're gonna be meeting for legislative
Right.
proposals.
Right. So, like next month. No, yeah, next month is when we have proposed legislation and the budget. So it's a big month, and we're not gonna vote on it. EOEL will be presenting and then gives us a month to consider the proposals and budget, and we will vote in September. Okay, so that gives the office, EOEL, enough time to prepare for whatever the board has approved. So thank you very much, Yuko, for that discussion. Thanks. Okay, let me see if I can go back and share. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, and then I closed it. Okay, too bad, never mind. Sorry, you guys. I wish I was better at this stuff. I'm gonna stop sharing. I forgot, I lost this, look, sorry. You can see it on your agendas. We're gonna review agenda outcomes. Now I gotta bring the slide up because I have stuff on there. Okay, excuse me, pardon me, you guys. Let me go back. Okay, good. You cannot see my screen, so that's good. Oh, there we are. Okay. Okay. Okay, then I go back to Zoom. Sorry, I gotta talk to myself because, you know, at least I'm listening. Okay. Okay, here we go. So agenda outcomes, the only thing we voted on today was the minutes, and that passed. And announcements, we have announcements, and I wanted to give space to Tara.
Oh, I just wanted to ask the board members if I sent out an email, I sent out a couple of emails to board members about completing a bio and sending in a picture for the website. And if you just respond to that, that would be greatly appreciated. We're trying to get everything informed, get the website updated, and especially with the changeover that we've had recently, it's a great time to get those updated. So if you need any help, if you have trouble filling out that form, just let me know. Feel free to just email me, and send me a picture. But I'd love to hear from those of you that I haven't heard from yet, so thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements from board members?
Eileen. It's Alana. I just want to thank Yuko, Tara, and Ephraim for coming over to Kauai yesterday. We hosted a Keiki to kindergarten transition event. And it was an awesome opportunity to partner with EOEL and offer that to the community, just talking about kindergarten transitions. And we have the sessions recorded. So hopefully we're going to be able to share that out widely and share some of that information before the school starts. So thank you all for joining us yesterday, and we appreciated the partnership.
Thank you. Any other board members have any announcements? Any announcements from members of the public? Okay, seeing none. I have one more thing after this slide, so don't go away yet. Okay, so mahalo to the Seed Center, to Christina and Lynette for the use of seed, and look, Kevin, forgot the A at the end. Okay, mahalo to Kevin for the tech support. Okay, so the quote for today is "Nothing Without Joy," which is from Loris Malaguzzi, the founder of the Reggio Emilia approach in early childhood. Look at that education. Holy cow. Must have had a margarita or something. Anyway, if you don't know who, the Reggio Emilia approach it started after World War II. It's a community in northern Italy. And Loris Malaguzzi started this approach honoring what they call the 100 languages of children. When I first heard about it, I was like, what do you mean? Well, they talk about the not just spoken language, but all the many ways children express themselves. And that's the 100 languages of children. And this approach came to the US in the 1990s. And I know there's a school here on Oahu that is Reggio inspired. It's a Mid-Pac.
Yes.
And there might be others, but I know that the Mid-Pac one is there. And it is definite approach to education, as is Montessori, as is Waldorf, as is immersion, all these different kinds of approaches. But that nothing without joy. He started these programs with in bombed out buildings after the war. The community had to come together to clean up these buildings and create these amazing programs. And now they have tours, international tours. You have to sign up way in advance. I've never had a chance to go, but people who have gone have really raved about it. And this came from the Maui meeting with Terry and also the University of Massachusetts, Boston people. Somebody at that meeting, when we were talking about recruiting and retaining people, my colleague at our college said, we need to talk more about the joy of working with children, because it is incredibly hard work and it is very joyful. And so when you have an assignment, board members, all board members, not only voting, all board members, but working with young children and families is hard work. Joy makes it worthwhile. So your assignment is to either think about your own experience, because people work with children in different capacities, or talk to an early educator or another professional who works with young keiki and their ohana, and describe a moment of joy. And then send that to me. I'll compile them. I think that'll be kind of a nice, we can just kind of keep a running thing of these are stories of joy. So when we have some recruitment opportunities, here's a story of joy. One of mine is I had gone on, we have a Head Start on campus at Maui College. And I had gone to a conference, and so I had come back after, several days, and one of my most kolohe boys, I mean, they're there, okay, so one of my kolohe kids, I pick him up and carrying him, he puts his hands on my face, he goes, I'm so glad that you're back. And I went, oh, this is why I do it. So it is an incredibly hard and it's an incredibly joyful job. So board members and whoever else, if you guys have my email, go ahead, you can mail me your stories of joy and we can compile them. Okay, so not just board members, anybody else, right? Okay, so that's we ending early, 3:45. Before we adjourn, let me just go over the August agenda. Department of Human Services is going to give us an update on what's happening with the Harm to Students Registry, board research, and Center on the Family will give a report on the early childhood needs assessment. And I'm hoping to get more of you on building block committees, and we'll ask you just give a short report on anything that we learned, and then we'll have the budget and legislative proposals. So we have a lot to cover next month. So now I'm adjourning. Okay, that's 3:46. Mahalo, everybody. Bye.